Welcome to Animal Atlas. Come with us around the globe and explore the animal world and its jungle animals and desert creatures. We'll meet wildlife on the savannah and see our underwater friends. And animals from the Arctic Circle. Anywhere, everywhere animals live. It's always an adventure. Today on Animal Atlas, we're paying a visit to some of our favorite animals. Make that our favorite land animals. All right, so we do have a whole lot of favorite land animals. But today, we're taking a closer look at those creatures who we've invited into our lives. Make that into our homes. Those furry creatures that we've invited into our homes? Who can that be? Take a guess. You've got it. Today, we're talking cats and dogs, aka Felids and Canids. Our domestic cats descended from small African wildcats, something like this serval cat, and joined our households courtesy of the Egyptians more than 4,000 years ago. Though the earliest fossil ancestors of the cat family go back 50 million years. Domestic dogs are all descended from wolves, and they were earlier additions to our human households, possibly becoming domesticated, which simply means breeding in captivity, close to 13,000 years ago. Though man's relationship with the wolf probably stretches back to the beginnings of the last ice age, 40,000 years ago, when the world looked more like this than this. Since then, breeds of both cats and dogs have been developed, giving us a huge variety of pets and companions to love and care for. But cats and dogs, or Canids and Felids, aren't just fluffies and Fidos. Both cats and dogs have an astounding number of family members in the wild. Let's meet some of them. To get to the truth about Felids and Canids, we first need to ask, what do they have in common? All Felids and Canids are mammals. Among other things, that means they're warm-blooded, as opposed to cold-blooded like reptiles and fish. Mammals have hair, though some mammals admittedly have little more than a downy mustache. Mammals give birth to live young, as opposed to laying eggs. And of course, mammals nourish their young with milk from their bodies. Felids and Canids are also carnivores, meaning they eat meat or other animals, as opposed to just plants, like a number of other mammals. Yes, wild Canids and Felids are all hunters, but it's in terms of how they hunt where the differences start to show. All wild Felids are solitary hunters, like the tiger, or the leopard, or the lynx. With one notable exception, the lion. The mighty African lion hunts cooperatively with members of its group, called a pride. On the other hand, all wild Canids hunt in a group, called a pack, from the wolf to the coyote to the Cape hunting dog. With one notable exception, the red fox. This solitary hunter, who prefers to dine on rabbit and other small rodents, travels alone, with just its bushy tail to keep it company and to keep it warm. What's the benefit of hunting in a pack? It's possible to hunt prey larger than you are. For example, for the wolf pack, a meal can be a deer, or hoofed prey as large as a bison. Only a pack of wolves could successfully separate one of these mighty giants on the open plains from its herd. So what's the benefit of being a solitary hunter? you only have one mouth to feed, your own. And where prey animals abound that are smaller than the wildcats, such as tapirs, for the jaguar, or monkeys, for the leopard, hunting alone is not a difficult proposition. Just ask the fox. When looking at our wild canids and wild felids, what are some assumptions you might be inclined to make? How about that wild felids are way bigger than wild canids? Yes, it's true that the biggest wild cat, the Siberian tiger, at over 10 feet in length and close to 660 pounds, would dwarf the biggest of the wild canids, the timber wolf, who weighs barely 1/3 as much. And the smallest canid, the fennec fox, at just a little more than 3 pounds, is smaller than even the average domestic cat. But though we tend to think big when we think of wildcats, there are a number of felids that are even smaller than the wolf, including our African wildcat, the serval cat, and the lynx. It's in the domestic world, or the world of our pets, that the biggest pet dogs, like the Newfoundland and the Great Dane, are bigger than even the biggest pet cats. Of course, there are little dogs too. Smaller than the average house cat, but with the heart and ferocity of a lion. Really? When we come back to Animal Atlas, we'll talk senses. But first, let's see if we can guess this animal fact. In general, which animals can run faster for longer? A. Felids. B. Canids. C. Tortoises. Or D. Hares. Don't go away. The answer coming up right after this on Animal Atlas. We're back. Did you guess the right answer to our question? In general, which animals can run faster for longer? The answer is B. Canids. Yes, the fastest land animal may be the big cat, the lean-limbed cheetah from Africa. But generally, it's the canids who are built for running. Notice how a canid's legs, with a few notable exceptions, like our short-legged solitary hunter, the fox, are generally longer and thinner than the more heavy-legged felids. That's because all wild dogs, with the exception of the South American bush dog, have long legs that have adapted for running in fast pursuit of prey. Our wild cats, excepting our faster-than-a-speeding-bullet land-speed marvel, the cheetah, are built for stalking and pouncing on their prey, not for long, drawn-out chases, so they are more muscular and more low to the ground. A number of wildcats, even big ones like the jaguar, can climb trees. But canids aren't tree climbers, despite being agile and sure-footed. A canid has claws, but they aren't climber's claws. They are blunt like the cleats of a runner's shoe, while most felids have sharp, retractable claws, which are a tree climber's dream come true. Though a number of other animal tree climbers might just say, "Claws? Who needs claws?" Not us. Take a look at the legs on this wild canid, the Cape hunting dog, also called the African wild dog. This canid has very long legs in relation to its body, making it able to range over long distances to search for its prey. A pack of these wild dogs can run at speeds over 30 miles per hour, enabling them to even run down a fleeing wildebeest. Being able to run fast and far is essential to surviving where these animals live, in the wide-open African savanna grasslands. The canid that wins the grand prize for the most astounding long legs, however, has got to be the maned wolf, who has been likened to a red fox on stilts. This distinguished canid, though, is neither a fox nor a wolf. It's in a class by itself and differs from all the other members of the wild dog family because its tail is very short and its legs are longer than the length of its body. Why the strange adaptations? This wild canid lives in the tall grasses and woodlands of central Brazil, where long legs and a short tail are to its advantage as a pounce predator in tall grass. Yes, like the fox, who this wild canid resembles, the maned wolf is a solitary hunter who prefers to pounce than to pursue great distances like other wild canids. Something our big stock and pounce predatory felines can certainly understand. If the long leg prize goes to the maned wolf, then the short leg prize might just go to this unusual looking member of the wild dog family, the bush dog. This canid, like our South American maned wolf, is in a group of its own. With its webbed feet, you'd expect this animal to live near water. And it does, in tropical South America. Rather than a den like the wolf, the bush dog spends much of its time in a burrow, like the badger it closely resembles. Yes, these bush dogs may look like a badger or an otter, but make no mistake, this wily creature is a member of the same family as the wolf and the fox. Both felids and canids, of course, have the requisite predatory carnivores' sharp teeth. But it's their respective super senses that make our felid and canid hunters truly special. For example, all felids have more highly developed senses of sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch than humans. In terms of just sight alone, a cat can see about 6 times better than a human at night, because its eyes have an extra layer of reflecting cells called the tapetum lucidum, which absorb light. Why is sight especially important to felids? Most wild cats hunt at night. And if it's completely dark, cats have adaptations for that too. Those whiskers aren't just for show. They are long, stiff hairs with sensitive nerve endings at their roots. These whiskers are spread around the cat's face so that the cat can feel where it is in relation to objects it brushes against. Using whisker touch, felids can feel their way along in the dark. Canids can't claim that. Though to be fair, they prefer to hunt at dusk, when prey is still visible. If we think of eyes and whiskers when we think felid, it's got to be the ever-sniffing nose that comes to mind when we come across a canid. In canids, smell is the most highly developed of all the senses. Canids have a far better sense of smell than not only us humans, but also even better than the felids. Canids probably remember smells better than sights, which is why dogs use their noses for identifying things in their environment, friends included. Have you noticed that, in general, canids have a much longer nose than felids? The dog family owes its keen sense of smell to rolls of very fine bone, or turbinals, in its nasal cavity. Particles of scent are drawn over these turbinals, and the olfactory nerve delivers scent messages to the brain. It's a fascinating world out there, from the end of one of these noses, or from the mirror of these eyes. When we come back to Animal Atlas, we'll learn more about these super senses of felids and canids. But first, let's see if we can guess this next animal fact. Hyenas are more closely related to A. Dogs, B. Cats, C. Rodents, or D. Marsupials. The answer coming up when we return to Animal Atlas. We're back. Did you guess the right answer to our question? Hyenas are more closely related to... The answer is B. Cats. Surprised? It's easy to see why, when looking at the hyena, dog is the first animal that comes to mind. But no, this carnivore from the African savanna, the same grasslands where giraffes and ostriches and African elephants roam, is more closely related to cats. Like its African neighbor on the savanna, the lion. The spotted hyena, which is also called the laughing hyena, is the largest of these strangely compelling creatures. Spotted hyenas, as you can clearly see, have large heads with rounded ears and a mane neck that slopes downward into smaller hindquarters. Their jaws are incredibly powerful, strong enough to crush even large animal bones. Most people think of hyenas as scavengers. And though they do eat carrion or dead animals that they find, maybe left over from a lion's meal, they are more often predatory hunters, hunting in groups of up to 50 animals. Where lions live in groups called prides, and wolves live in groups called packs, hyenas live and hunt in groups called clans. Like wolves, hyenas sleep and raise their young in dens, but which, in the hyena's case, are actually a series of complex underground tunnels that would make a tunnel-building meerkat envious. Hyenas are noisy animals, capable of making a variety of vocalizations, including whoops and shrieks and cackles. But it's the one vocalization they make to signal a successful hunt that sounds to our ears like blood-curdling laughter. That gives these spotted hyenas their nickname, the laughing hyena. Another highly social animal that lives in communal burrows, but which is not a dog, is the prairie dog. These robust rodents do indeed live on prairies, but it's just their high-pitched, bark-like call that got them the honorary title prairie dog. So in terms of hyenas, prairie dogs, and dogs, no close relation. Sorry. We've talked about eyes, or the sense of sight, and about noses, or the sense of smell, and about the Felids' extra special sense of whisker touch. Would it surprise you to know that cats not only have 9 lives, but also a 6th sense? When you see a cat doing this, grimacing like it's tasted something bad, it's actually using its taste-smell sense, something we humans just don't have. This grimace is actually called a phlegm response. The cat lifts up its head, draws back its upper lip, and draws the scent-laden air over their Jacobson organ, a chemoreceptor organ, and learns almost as much about its environment as our always sniffing dog. But before you're too amazed, members of the horse family, like our friend the zebra, are 6th sensors as well. Right? What about the sense of taste in the world of Felids and Canids? Why are we always seeing cats licking their fur? Cats aren't tasting their fur, they're cleaning it. And importantly, this grooming spreads the cat's own scent from glands under its skin over its fur. Then, by rubbing against something, this special scent is transferred to, say, a tree or a bush, proclaiming territorial boundaries. If this forest smells like me, it's all mine. When cats groom a companion, it's not just about assisting with cleanliness. It also serves to spread around the common scent, even to friends of other species. The family that smells the same belongs together, no matter what logic might tell you. If taste were linked to the length of the tongue, dogs would win by a landslide. Sometimes it almost seems that a dog's tongue is longer than its head, or even its whole body. But dogs whose tongues are hanging out like this aren't tasting the environment, they're perspiring. Dogs only have sweat glands on their feet, and these do little to cool them off. By panting, a dog can reduce its body heat. When saliva evaporates from the tongue and the mouth, it helps the dog to stay cool. So the more the panting dog hangs its tongue out in the breeze, the greater the chance of cooling down. Felids pant too, but they do have sweat glands, and like we do, reduce their body heat by sweating. But their thick fur really doesn't leave much place for heat loss beyond their nose or the pads of their feet. But when you've got that extra taste smell sense, who cares? And as for hearing, both Felids and Canids have keen hearing, especially those with funnel-shaped ears. Although clearly, some have better hearing than others. Indeed, the respective worlds of Felids and Canids have many similarities and many differences. But that's the happy truth about cats and dogs. To sum it up, perhaps there's no better spokesman than the author Mark Twain. If animals could speak, the dog would be a blundering, outspoken fellow. But the cat would have the rare grace of never saying a word too much. For more fun animal facts and news, visit our website at animalatlas.tv.
The internet is saying.
See you there. Don't go away. Animal Atlas will be right back. Until next time on Animal Atlas.
I need to have that fixed.
Yeah, I caught a fish this big. So what?
Man, do I need sunscreen.
Cold, 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 cold. Ah, that's better.
Are you looking at me?
Watch it, buddy! Oh, Grace! Where's my soda?
Mom? No. Mom? No. Mom? No.
Once again, we've traveled the globe from North and South America to Africa and Asia to Australia and every fascinating place in between. We've met all kinds of incredible animals and learned some important facts about their ability to survive and flourish on our planet. And with our help, we'll make sure they're around for a long time to come. Join us next week for another amazing adventure on Animal Atlas.